Welcome to Beyond the Data. I'm Dr. Phoebe Thorpe, and here with me today is Dr. Samuel Henke from Cincinnati Children's Hospital and Charlie's Kids Foundation. Thank you so much for joining us, Sam.
Well, thank you for having me.
Your story today about your son Charlie is very powerful. You told us about his death and how you have turned that tragedy into an amazing way to prevent future deaths. Can you tell me a little bit about that and your journey?
My wife Maura and I lost Charlie back in 2010. He would have been 8.5 years old now. He was born a beautiful, healthy baby boy. He was actually the same weight and length as me, 7 pounds and 11 ounces and 21 inches. He was really perfect in every way, and we were amazed at the first sight of him and celebrated life with him, and really started to settle in a routine as new parents. He was our firstborn son. Like all babies, Charlie was fussy, and one night I offered to give my wife a break. She was breastfeeding and needed some much needed rest, and I told her I would hold him while she got some sleep, and I finally got Charlie to settle, and I sat down on the couch to watch some TV while holding him, and I nodded off to sleep. I wasn't trying to nod off to sleep, but I nodded off to sleep, and when I woke up, Charlie was gone. He was asleep on my chest, and life has never been the same since that.
No. No, it wouldn't be. But you've gone beyond it. You've turned that into a very powerful book. Tell us about that book.
Having something like that happen is nothing you can ever get beyond or over. It's something we just move forward, and I can never understand why I was chosen and why my wife and I were the ones that had to shoulder this tragedy. But we were really amazed when we found out that we weren't alone in this, and that there were almost 3,500 babies that die every single year from very similar circumstances. And we knew we needed to do something to prevent other families from having that same tragedy. My wife is a kindergarten teacher, and she came up with the idea of using children's board books as a way to deliver the important safe sleep messages that we know can help reduce babies' risk of dying suddenly and unexpectedly like Charlie. And so we worked with a friend of mine who's a local pediatrician, John Hutton, who's a children's book author, and an illustrator, Leah Bush, and developed our own children's book called Sleep Baby, Safe and Snug. And the goal of that book was to provide the safe sleep message in a way that's relatable to families. It's through pictures and easy to read text, and it's something that families read to their babies right before they put them to sleep. And the hope is that that repetitive messaging and relatable messaging would actually change the way that they put their baby to sleep. And that was the spirit behind the book's development.
Mm-hmm. And I know the book has had some impact, which I must be very satisfying for you. Yeah.
I think that it is. It makes me.
It's in some small measure satisfying.
Yeah,
it can't replace.
It is. It makes me proud as a dad, proud of my son Charlie, to see the impact that he's had. Mm-hmm. To know that we've distributed over 2.5 million copies of this book across the country, and have had studies that show that it actually influences behavior now. Mm-hmm. We have studies that are seeing that it's associated with less sleep-related deaths when it's used as part of statewide campaigns. And for me, that is so meaningful, and it's what inspires me to keep doing this work. Yeah. Knowing that there are families out there that are celebrating birthdays that wouldn't be able to celebrate birthdays, and that makes me proud as a father. Mm-hmm.
Are there other things that you would like to see done? What else could we do to prevent these deaths?
Yeah, we're nowhere where we need to be. The unfortunate reality that my wife and I experienced is a reality that thousands of families are experiencing every single year. And I think there's two things that we need to do, two big things. There's not enough attention to this problem. Mm-hmm. There's not enough attention to the fact that you as a parent can do something about this problem, that you can change the way that you put your baby to sleep. And we know that there are safe recommendations to put your baby alone on their back in their own crib. And by doing that each and every time you go to sleep, your baby's going to be safer and have a much greater chance of waking up every single morning and every single nap. But we also know that that message is hard. It's hard to do that every single time. And all the parents know that when exhaustion sets in, you'll do anything to try to get your baby to sleep. And I think we have to do a better job in supporting our families with that reality. We need to give them solutions to those families that really, really want to do what's right, which I think most of our families do. But we have to help them with the realities of sleep exhaustion. These recommendations, the babies don't sleep as deeply. And so we have to help them with soothing and calming, connecting them with other parents that are experiencing the same thing at 3 o'clock in the morning. I think as a society and as a field, we haven't done that well enough. And I don't think we'll see the consistent adoption of these safe sleep practices until we really focus on that area.
Are there other areas of research that we should focus on too?
Undoubtedly, we are struggling with how do we message this to families, because the connection between the behavior, which is an improved sleep, and an outcome isn't always consistent. One of the things that personally I look back on, and part of the reason why I can share my story, is that I don't feel like what I did was that exceptional. There are thousands of fathers that fall asleep with their baby on their chest, and their babies don't die. And as a result, families don't really recognize the association with behavior, such as falling asleep with your baby on a couch, and a terrible outcome. It doesn't happen every time. Just like every time you don't wear your seatbelt, you don't get in an accident. But we need to make sure that we are following those practices for when those right circumstances occur.
Yeah, yes. Your story is very powerful, and your book is too. And I really appreciate the work that you've done. Is there anything more that you would say to a family that might be facing the same circumstances?
Yeah. I think the first thing I would say is I'm sorry you've experienced the worst loss that you could have experienced as a person. It never goes away. Your baby will never be forgotten. You don't get over it. You can just move forward. But know that joy and happiness and pain can coexist together, and find beauty and strengths in the little things that happen every day. And be a partner with other people across the community that want to do something about these deaths. Tell them your story. Let people know that this happened to you and that you can do something about it and to keep that from happening.
Sure. If somebody wanted to know more about how to prevent the deaths or how to find your book, how would they do that?
There's a lot of great resources out there. The NICHD and AAP websites give a lot of the background for what these safe sleep recommendations are, and a lot of really good materials that help families from all different walks of life. Our organization, Charlie's Kids Foundation, we primarily distribute this book, and we distribute it in bulk to hospitals and other nonprofit organizations, or anyone that's committed to delivering the safe sleep message. And you can go to our website at charlieskids.org and find that information as well. You can go to the local health department. That's something that for your own individual area, we're really trying to tackle this together. And sometimes having that local information can be really helpful in relating with your families.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for what you're doing and for coming and sharing it with us. And it's really, really quite inspirational. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And thank you for joining us for Beyond the Data. We'll see you next month. Thank you.